Buenos dias. Welcome to another day of trading. Right. I am your host, Jamie Irvin. For today, Alyssa is otherwise preoccupied. So I am filling in. So we are going to go ahead and get started. There's a lot going on this morning. First of all, one of the main things is that before market open for earnings, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, Citi, Progressive, and State Street, they all reported this morning. And so there's been some activity surrounding them. Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase was saying that he was expecting some, because of the inflation and the wars and the policies, the Fed policies, that there may be some, major threats ahead. So that's definitely of note. Stock futures slide as earnings kicks off. Like I said, JP Morgan Chase, they kind of fell off. But for the futures, Dow futures is down 0.68%. S&P futures down 0.76%. And the NASDAQ futures is down the most at 0.95%. Europe last reported 2 out of 5 were down. The markets were higher with stock 600 up 1%. And they're showing signs of recession rebound. DAX down slightly, 0.09%. FTSE up 0.95%. CAC, which is France, I believe, 0.17% down. FTSE Milano up 0.28%, and stock 600 up 0.28% as well. Last reported for Asia, mostly down. ASX 200, which is Australia, down 0.33%. Nikkei up 0.21%. But Kospi down 0.93%. HSI down 2.18%. That's HSI Hong Kong. And Shanghai down only 0.49%. Hong Kong stocks dropped 2% as China exports fall more than expected. Of course, we have us. These numbers have not been changed, of course. Russell 2K, though, is up 0.70%, and the VIX is up 13%. That's 13%. What's that? 16.85. So that is definitely of note. All right, definitely of note. Traditionally, when the VIX is up, we see the market trending downward overall. Okay, and so let us go right ahead and look at our ForexFactory. We got the import prices at 8:30, so that already happened. We got 10 a.m. We got the red folder for the preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment and the inflation expectations. And there's the bell. That's the orange folder is the inflation expectations. So that's at 10. 2:30, yellow folder, member Bostic speaks. And then 3:30, member Daily speaks. So we got our normal 10 o'clock time frame. We got a couple folders there to be aware of. This is what we had going on today. This is on investing.com. They started at 4 o'clock this morning. EIA monthly report was 2 stars. At 8:30, there was a little short run of 1 and 2 star currencies. The export price index year over year was 1 star, and the export price index month over month for March was 2 stars. The import price year over year was 1 star, and then the import price index month over month for March was 2 stars, and the import price index year over year was 1 star. And then we got coming up though at 10 o'clock. There's the Michigan 1-year inflation expectations for April, and then the 5-year inflation expectations for April, which is they're both 2 stars. The Michigan consumer expectations, which is 2 stars, and the consumer sentiment, all for April, 2 stars. Also at 10 o'clock, 1 star, Michigan current conditions for April. 1 o'clock, we got the U.S. Baker Hughes oil rig count, right? And the total rig count. Both of those are 2 stars. Then at 2:30, we got the FOMC member Bostic speaking. That's 2 stars over here. And then as of 3:30, we have a run of the CFTC speculative net positions, which include aluminum, copper, corn, crude oil, gold, and NASDAQ 100, natural gas. And here's the thing. The crude oil is 2 stars over here. The gold is the 2 stars, and the NASDAQ 100 are all 2 stars for those speculative net positions. The natural gas is 1 star. S&P 500 is 2 star. And then silver, soybeans, wheat are all 1 star. This is all happening at 2:30. And then FOMC member daily is speaking again at 2:30. So that's a 2 star. So we still got some 2 star stuff happening as far as investing.com is concerned. And again, they don't always have the same they will have the same stuff as ForexFactory, but sometimes they have more detail like this. But anyway, so we just got to basically, trade what we see. It's where at the end of the day, that's why we got to emphasize that. Real quick, let me if I can. I was wondering what the come on, man. Wondering what the information was for us for today to get us kind of caught up. That's 10. Okay, so we're good so far. Britain had their thing. All right. Okie dokie. Let's go with Mancini. Yesterday, my target in SPX. Sure, I got the right one. Okay. My target in SPX and profit takeoff. The 5148 reclaim long setup was 5201. Big resistance. We hit it, overshot, spent the night basing there, and then dipped. Spent the night basing. That doesn't sound at all like a drug reference. Plan today, complex action. Base under 5191, then pop to 5202. Dip, 5218 plus 5169 support if we continue down. So it looks like to me we'll be marking, I'll definitely be marking 5169, 5191 for sure. So 5169, 5191. Grab those. Do this. And we'll go 5169, 5191. Put those on. Let's do that. So we'll go 51. This is Mancini. 5169. And oops. Put these on, and we are marking where he has put his numbers for the ES. 5191. And I tend to watch what is going down with the S&P, with SPX. I watch it on the 15-minute chart for the most part. But just to give you an idea of what happened yesterday, this was yesterday's action. It opened up, man. Did that drop. It hit where it opened in that range and broke through, continued to climb up. What happened on yesterday? Today, gap down this morning. So we're going to mark that for our preparation for the 15-minute breakout, et cetera, since that's going to be happening. And so I'm going to mark this gap first. So you can see where that happened. Now put it like right here. Right? And then the 15-minute gap, or I'm sorry, the 15-minute breakout. I'll just put another line here, a couple lines here. Right here. Mark that real quick. We'll do something we can actually see. All right, so we'll come back and at some point we'll adjust that line as the I got a feeling that it's going to try to feel like gap anyway. So we'll be coming back to take a look at that. If you have any tickers you want charted, we have some already. We'll look at again, we got already looking at SPX, Russell 2000, and then we're gonna take a look at some of the movers from this morning: AVGO, Micron, Apple, and NVDA. So we'll circle back to those as well. We may even look at Tesla, but for right now, we got these Mancini's numbers here and here. We could always put in 5191. We can always put in 5202 and 5218. So this 5202 to be on the safe side, 5202 and 5218. 218. All right. This gives us a visual idea of what's happening. These are the numbers the main numbers that he gave us. So as we are watching what's happening, we can have at least a fairly decent idea of where everything is in relation to the numbers that he put out there. Good morning, Lady T, Marsha Dawson, Janae, Karen C, Michelle. Good morning to all of you. We will definitely add Robin Hood to our mix for today. No problem. Okay. So let's jump around. All right. So we got Mancini taken care of. And then we can look at okay. So we're gonna take a look at, let's do Robin Hood first. Get this taken care of. All right, so overall, I'm looking at Robin Hood, and I see on the monthly chart there, overall they're down, but they are trying to work their way back up. Lately, the last, I guess you say, few months, they have been on an upswing, I guess you could say. So they definitely broke past the last highs. They have a strong seller zone up here at $41. So they got some traveling to do to get back up there. But it looks like right now they may be finding their more recent, high point, if you want to say it that way, the more recent seller zone. I would consider this a cheer right here on their monthly chart. What is that? $12 to $10.35 to about $12.84-ish. I would consider that a cheer formation right there. This right here, so depending on, this is a monthly chart. So the next upcoming month will be interesting, just because this formation this chart formation, this is engulfing the body of the body, not just the wick. The body of this candle is engulfing this one for the current month. And many times that can be the signal that there may be down, and the next candle could be down. It could also go up, right? So that's why we got to wait for that next leg. But there's definitely like a harami type pattern because it's coming up into the seller zone, strong into the seller zone, and now there's that smaller candle, which can be indecision. So it'll be interesting to see how Robinhood plays out from that standpoint. This is the weekly chart, and if I was doing the weekly, I probably would have to go up here for a seller zone. I guess you can go right here. I mean, it's in the seller zone right now on the weekly chart. That's what it looks like. It's trying to leave there right now. So leg in, base, leg out. Yeah, so it's already revisited it right there. So I would say if we counted 1893 as being the proximal line right here, we could use this formation, leg in, base, leg out, as the most recent, which will put a zone on top of a zone. I was looking down here, actually, leg in, it's a little bit of a gap here. So leg in, base, leg out. I was looking down this way with one revisit over here. This is a strong leg out as well on the weekly. So it could be, getting ready to pop in any particular direction. A second ago, I was talking about on the monthly chart, the candle was engulfing. This is doing the same thing on the weekly. Right here, I don't have the, do I have the chart pattern to show you? I don't have the harami pattern handy, but there's a, it's called a bearish harami. The candle pattern that I'm referring to is called a bearish harami. But it's one that could be a good signal. So this is happening. I'm sorry, I said weekly. This is on the daily. This is the weekly. I thought I was on the weekly. This is what's happening on the weekly. So this has broken past this area over here. It went past it, whatever the higher point was in terms of the wick. There's a lot of, I guess you could say, indecision type candles over here on that side. But you have one thing you definitely have here is I see a strong formation down here in terms of the U formation, a leg in, probably 2, 3 in the base and leg out. Or some people probably put all 4 of these in the base. Depends on how you want to chart it. But then there's a chair right here. So when this comes back down on this weekly chart to about 14.5, this would be a good place to see if it's going to retest and head back up. There's a little bit of a gap right here as well. So could very well come back down and retest that. That's on the weekly. The daily is the one that has the engulfing candle. This all right here looks like a this looks like it could be getting ready to form any number of patterns, double top, triple top, could be anything happening. This is a pole that from south to north is running up. And so now it's starting to, looks like it's trying to start going sideways a little bit. So that would be something to keep in mind in terms of the chart patterns that could be the ones that's coming up. Let me see. Checking to see if I have. So yeah, so this right here is the triple top. This is one pole coming up from south to north. And then it starts doing one of these numbers. Sometimes you'll see double top, which is do it twice and it'll break down here. Sometimes you'll see triple. Sometimes you'll see more than just 3. I mean, it just depends on what the market is doing. But the thing that they have in common is they'll bounce at about the same zone when that's happening after that initial run up. So personally, if I'm looking at hood, I would be not, you can't really, obviously you can't predict none of this stuff, but I definitely would be paying attention to this zone right here, somewhere in here, because it wouldn't surprise me if it comes back and, you know, kind of bounces in here, because I see activity in here and it's already turning around right there. So it could be, that could be something to look at if you want to put an alert on there, depending on how you want to trade it. But in terms of the 4 hour, it is looks like it's trying to come out of that seller zone and head down as of right there. So I'm gonna chart this and put what I'm seeing on the chart. Then we're gonna go back and we're gonna check SPX real quick. Take a look at Russell 2000. That's my new cousin. Me and Russ cousins. So we got it's my play cousin, Russell, my new trade play cousin. All right. So we'll do this here, seller zone. I'm doing 2 seller zones, okay? So this is the one that's higher up, leg in, 2 in the base, leg out. And then this is the one that is 1 step down, which is the zone that it's in. So I'm going to mark that with the dotted lines to say we're in the zone. Okay. It's leg in, base, leg out. Now this formation is a zone on top of a zone as far as I can tell. So I'm going to chart it as such. Okay. And to avoid any type of confusion, let us we'll just use different set of lines so we can see them. Right. And I'm only going to do this on the daily chart. Okay. So leg in, base, leg out. So this is the zone for the buyers. This would be the zone that it's currently in. And where I think it's probably a strong zone would be right here. In terms of where it goes, if it keeps going down, there's another strong zone right here. Leg in, base, leg out. So we got the zone that is stuck in between the sellers and the buyers right here. We got the next zone down right here. And then we got that one. So in terms of what would we be looking at, and if we wanted to trade it, if I was thinking about trading it, this is not investment advice. I would be looking at, depends on which expiration you would be looking at. Probably have to do next week. I'd imagine there's no premiums on Robinhood right now. Which I'm right, even close to the money, there's nothing really there. 63% out the money, that's not what we want. 77% we probably would, but there's no premiums right there. So you would be looking at, let's say, next week, right? And I don't know if Robert, I don't know what kind of ATR, average true range, how much it moves. How much Robinhood's moved. I'm just going to type this in so I can get the average true range, get an idea of 88 cents. Oh, okay. So Robinhood isn't a move, quote unquote, it isn't a mover, meaning it doesn't travel like very far in a day. Usually, a lot of times people will trade stuff that might be like $1 ATR. Like these other ones, XLE, this is ExxonMobil. XLE is the sector ETF for energy. But if you notice, like WBA is Walgreens Booth Alliance, it has a lower ATR than Robinhood does. And they've been around like forever. So when you see those, anything under $1, that means you ain't gonna see a whole lot of movement. Not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on what how you're trying to trade it, but it will normally mean you're definitely gonna have to go out a little bit further to probably see some decent premium. So if you look at, for example, so let's go with, we'll round this up to 2, and we'll say this is the implied volatility over here. All right, this is the direction that is expected. The price could travel roughly, let's say, up and down. Let's say $2, let's say. We'll add that to and subtract it from the current price. So at the top, it'll be 20.70. And at the bottom, it'll be 16, well, really more like $17. But so if we were to go down here, you see how it says 16.5, 17. So that's not even a 1 spread. That's what we call a 50-cent spread. If you want to make it a 1 spread, that means 50 cents just means you'd be leveraging $50 on that trade. And of course, we're doing credit spreads. Let me get some legitimate numbers so we will not be guessing. All right, we're going to clear this calculator. We're going to go 1.9 plus 18.66. So that puts us at 2056, which means we got to go above that in order to get out of the range of danger. So we got, if we were going to go above it, I'm seeing, if I want a 1 spread, this is 21. So 1 spread would be, the other leg would be 22. That would be 10 cents right there. Essentially $10. I'm going to put this in just because. Put U2 AM. Right? So $10. You got break even would be 21.10. I went to April 26th, but we'll definitely close it before then. Then on the other side, we will be doing 18.6. I would just say minus. Well, we'll do 1.9 too. See what we get. 16.68. So one thing you could definitely do would be 12. This 12 cents right here. So 16.5 is now, again, the premiums is not all that great, but I'm just, working through the mechanics. This would be a 1 spread. So that would be 8 cents. Obviously, you can always increase that. But because it moves slow, that something like that might not feel, but we can always just put it in anyway, just to see what happens. But I would be looking at that. And this is an iron condor that I put in. So I did the call credit spread first, and then put credit spread second. Normally, I don't put these in anymore at the same time, but I'm just doing it right now since we're on the broadcast and we see the opportunity that's right there. So thanks, Jamie. I'm already in the trade and planned on jumping ship. This confirmed that for me. Awesome. Glad we can help. So that's Robinhood. I would imagine with them, because it's not earnings, they probably got a little bit better premiums a little further out. I would guess, yeah. So now you're looking at what, 4? So if you went 14, all of this stuff just depends on what you're trying to accomplish in terms of your how close you want to get. Some people, for example, I'll just use it as an example. I'm usually looking at 80% out the money, somewhere in there, 80% out the money. That means I got an 80% chance of this being a good trade. Other people are fine going with 70%. If they go to 70%, they will get more money for the same strike, right? For the same leg. if they went further out or if they went closer. So there's different ways you can do that. But in this case, so 14.6. We want to go below there. We would be like here, right? So if I'm looking at 14.6, this is 7 cents, but I'm a nice ways away, 87%, right? I would have to get 80, go right here, for example. And actually, for this to be a one spread, I can just go down one. This is not a 50-cent spread. So that's 13 cents if I went with 14. But some people, 14, 15, some people, are cool with being at 72. And even though I'm not, I don't knock anybody that is, but 72% out the money. So they will be getting, so let's see there. You got to hold down the control key to select that, but that would be 21 cents for the expiration May 17th. Right? Just by going one strike down, definitely some, less money, but Robinhood not being a mover, you will get, you will go further out, but that doesn't mean that you're gonna see a huge difference. But for them, that ATR is a little slow. Okay. All right. So we have AVGO, which is Broadcom, and the Broadcom is, they do a whole lot of stuff with cell phones, especially iPhone. So actually, before we jump in there, let's go to SPX real quick. Circle back and see what SPX has done in this time frame thus far. All right. So it tried to break out. Remember, this is the Mancini, one of Mancini's numbers right here, 5169-ish. So the buyers have pushed up, trying to bring some heat, but we have this gap. When this gap down, so the sellers, this is a seller's gap because the pressure came down from here. And so as it tries to poke its way through there, the sellers are letting them know that they ain't trying to have that. And keep something in mind as well. This particular area, this price point, this is where things got turned around before over here. So it's not a surprise that it will happen right here as well. It has happened in the past, and this turning around up here, right, would also be, for us going back up, would be resistance too. So this is definitely a point of resistance, even on the 15-minute chart. Okay. So not much activity happening right there. But let's take a look at who was I looking at a second ago? Broadcom, AVGO. You don't hear a lot about Broadcom unless you are aware of the semiconductor space. But like everybody else in tech, I shouldn't say that. That's not the only thing that they know for. Communications is, but I know them just from doing work with Apple phones. And so they're on the run up like a lot of other parts of tech. They're hitting they're in that all-time high category. They're trying to find their sellers level as well. On the monthly chart, it's just all-time high. On the weekly, it's starting to turn around a little bit, but like the other chart we just looked at, zone on top of a zone a little bit here. For the buyer zone, leg in, base, leg out. Right, that's how I would see that, leg in, base, leg out. But you can also say for the seller zone, leg in, base, leg out. That can be, this pair could be the leg out, come down, or a base going up. Either way, it's definitely, we definitely have sellers up here pushing back. And this is on the weekly chart. So, you know, those weekly chart is a pretty strong price points up there. All right. Let's take a look, see at the daily. Very strong buyer zone. Come on. It's a very strong buyer zone right here. And remember a little bit ago, we were just talking about the engulfing candle. This is definitely a candle that is like it's being engulfed. We don't know what that's going to turn out to be, but I'll be watching that. This has been basing to the side, which we just saw that on the weekly chart. So this is what that same thing looks like on the daily. And this is where I would be going right there. This is one of the top movers for today. All right, so we'll do that. And then we'll go up here. And I'm looking at this right here. You can actually do either one of these. I'm just going here because it's the most, you know, it's the one that's closest. These have not gone all the way through this whole zone, but if somebody wanted to go up here, that would be fine too. Either way, I would be doing both of them because the tip of this wick is where it turned around, so I would be acknowledging that. But all of this really, there's some people who would do it like this. So that they can include all of it in one zone. That's again, however people want to chart, you do what make you happy. But this is how I'm seeing it on here. This down here, probably, all you're doing really just adding more risk in when we pull this down. But the reason why we widen it is to include the other buyers that are in this particular zone. Normally, though, for the most part, I probably go, you know, depends on how far away you want to get with the candles. But with Broadcom, because of its price, 1347, this drop when you lower that distal sellers, buyer zones, that's a nice little, that's, you know, that's not a couple dollars when you decide to do that, but if you want to do it that way, that's fine as well. All right. And to be perfectly honest with you, well, I won't get deep in the weeds on this. All right. For the 4 hour, we'll see what that's looking like on the 4 hour. And here we got a gap down up here. And to be honest with you, that is it's a nice little gap right there. So what I would be doing here is I would have already, just by looking at that gap, I would be, if I was looking at trading this, I most definitely would be going, let me see what a call credit spread is looking like right about now. Up in chow. Right? So you go right here. Then I will mark this gap. Yep. So you have this, and then you could literally do leg in. This white candle right here, 2 in the base, leg out. And then you also have this is a very strong one down here. Strong formation down here. And the only reason I would acknowledge the one that's above it, above this one, so we got gap down, basically, base, leg out. But I definitely would acknowledge this one just because it turned around right here. And this green line is from the daily chart. So it came down and tapped that line on the daily. So, you know, and there's a little bit of a gap in between there. So there's enough happening there where we want to make sure we see that and acknowledge it, right? So I put it something like that. Yeah, there's a lot going on with Broadcom. So I will be looking at a call credit spread Feist. Good morning, Arlusa Pinkleton, Pink Elton. So a little bit ago, we were just talking about how we come to the conclusion of where we're going to get in at, or at least start looking. So we're doing 1348, 74. We're going to add and subtract 1717, our volatility, to get our call credit spread 13. Did I do that right? 1365. We got to go outside 1365, which puts us about right here. 1367.5. And there you go. That would be 37 cent. 37 cent. You could probably, well, since it's dropping, I'm doing YouTube AM. It is dropping. I put this for today, expiration, only because that's not horrible for a premium, but also later on in the day, I can come back and check that. I would say maybe even noon to see what it's doing. 1 o'clock for sure. And then Iron Condor on the other side, depending on what, so you can get 2 for 1. So boom, boom, right? So for right now, because it's moving down, I would, hit the call credit spread first. But that's definitely something I will come back and check to see. Because if I was looking at that right now, 1327, so you need to be at 25. That would be right now, because it's heading my way. So the premiums are going to be higher, right? But that's what you'll be looking at for, what is that, 84% out the money, right? But it's barreling down towards you. Alyssa has something she wants to share, everybody. So over to you. Can't hear you. I see you talking, but I can't hear you. And your mic is on. We'll see. No, I don't hear anything. Okay. Alyssa is in a car. That's what the problem is. Y'all, Alyssa loves to present me with one challenge after another when it comes to the technical stuff. Lord have mercy. All right. Well, once we hear her, then we'll. But I got everything on, and I literally can see your mouth moving, but nothing is coming out on our end. Alyssa, straight up, like it's hilarious. I'm gonna say I can't even stop sharing, but all right. I know I sent her the invite. That part we got down pat. All right. So we wait for her. She's gonna exit out and then come back in, and then we'll try it again. Okay, so this is on the 4 hour for SPX, which is too soon. I wanted 15 minutes. I wish, oh man, I need to record this so she can see what I'm seeing. This is we were looking at the 15-minute breakout. It is trying to push its way out. Finally got a strong candle heading out. And the buyers are pushing back and giving some pushback. Your feed, Alyssa, is like real choppy. So if you're talking, it's definitely you keep freezing up, basically. Assuming she can even hear me. I mean, shoot. Making an assumption on my end. But she definitely keeps getting kicked out. If anybody else can hear our listener, please put it in the chat box if you can't hear. Maybe I'm the only one that can't. So I probably should be asking that. If anybody else can hear her, anybody else hear her? There's like 12 of us on the call, so if somebody else can hear her, let me know. I hear nothing. Okay. So this candle finally did come out, and I would be waiting to see when this comes out. I'll be waiting for it to shoot out a little bit more, possibly retest, because it's not been enough movement coming down right now. But since it is SPX, since it is heading down, and we saw from yesterday's activity that just because it heads down doesn't mean it will stay that way. But I would be looking at call credit spread since it's heading down, and this is if you're considering the breakout. This would be literally about the same thing, 88. So I would say if you did 51.90, it's 81% out the money while it's still heading down, right? 95 cents. Now, if I'm doing this with the intent on doing the PDT hack. So that's what I would be aiming at regardless. So hold on a second. Let's see what unmute. Okay, Alyssa. I see you, but I don't hear you. You are clearly in a car and not near a Wi-Fi. That I can tell you for sure. I can tell that part. All right. So I can see our list. I don't want to put her on the hold on a second. Try it again.
Hello.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. That's where we're going. So what I wanted to share was I was listening or learning something yesterday evening about entering on Friday's trades. Well, the information I found out let me know that entering on Friday is beneficial. And I always wondered why when I entered spreads on Friday that they really got themselves ready to close pretty early, like Monday or Tuesday. I always wondered that, what is it that makes them easier to close in a short span of time? So what I found out last night, it has to do with data. Oh, something's going on in my head. That it had something to do with theta. That when we're in our trades, okay, you hold it. Theta is, as the market closes, theta starts to, we gotta zoom it back out. We're going right. Yeah. The theta starts to eat up and it eats up when the market is closed as well. So, we're only in the market like 8 hours ish on a particular day. But when the market is closed, like over the weekend, all those hours that are over the weekend, theta is still working on those premiums. So if we're buying, let's say, we wouldn't want that, because you don't want to have theta chewing up your premiums if you're a buyer. But if you're a seller, we do want theta. We do want time decay to be chewing on our premiums. So if we go into the trade on a Friday, and let's, for example, say you take $25 for your trade and premiums, and then over the weekend, those premiums start to get eaten up. By the time you get to Monday and Tuesday, a bit of those premiums have been eaten already, which is why you could maybe get out earlier. Now, the difference is that, if you get in a trade on Friday, you may be a little concerned that you got to worry about the weekend, the price action that will happen over the weekend. But that's why when you get in, we still use our same conventions, which is look for your probability out of the money, do your charting, all those things. And that can be used for, the following Friday or whatever, just like we do any other time. If we decide, like Jamie does, he's going out a couple of weeks, the same process you run the same process that you would on a Monday morning, right? So I was thinking that it may be beneficial to us to look at today. Let's look at today. And I've done Fridays so many times. Which way we going? I've done Fridays so many times and really had success like early in the week with closing those trades. And I was not sure why. And now I know that it's because theta is chewing up on the premiums over the weekend automatically. So Monday we get, that same, but we don't get the benefit of the theta decay. We don't get the benefit of the theta decay if we get in on Monday, not as much, because then we need a couple of days for it to start. That's why sometimes we'll get in on Monday and it's ready to close Wednesday, maybe Thursday. But if we could get in on Fridays and then let the weekend help us with the trade, and then get out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest, this is a plus, right? So today I'm going to look at putting us some. We'll look at and we can do this. We can look at the same watch list we look at for, on PeakBot. We can use that PeakBot watch list, or we can look on bar chart. Of course, with bar chart, you're going to want to find your own strikes, because bar chart be aggressive with their strikes, right? So you're going to be mindful about that. But we could use the PeakBot. We can look at the PeakBot strikes, use peakbot.com/watch lists, put an S on the end of it, and look at the items that are there, and potentially look at entering some things. Even if you do it on Friday in your sim, if you're not convinced is what I'm talking about, I'm thinking you could be, but if you're not convinced, you could definitely, do it in your sim if you want, or do one live, it's up to you what you decide to do. And give that a try. That's the one thing. The second thing is, I wanted to say, I am PeakBot has this new trend spreads. PeakBot has a new trend spreads bot that they're trying out. I'm in the beta test. Basically, I'm trying it out. And what you do is on Fridays, which is kind of the thought here too, is that's not where I got the information from PeakBot, but PeakBot does it this way. They enter these spreads on Friday, and if at the end of the week or they enter it Friday for the next Friday's expiration, and if your trade is not successful at the end of the week, then the PeakBot bot will automatically roll it for you, so you don't ever get assigned, ever have to worry about getting assigned. Of course, you pick up your you pick the stock like you would any other time. You pick the stock, and on Friday, the bot enters the stock for you, and then it'll run it for the week. When it's ready, you, of course, can close it yourself. And if it doesn't expire worthless the following week, the bot will roll it. I'm testing that out right now. So like when it's ready for everybody, which is not ready for, open consumption, they've got people trying it out. And then I'll, of course, talk more about it. But see, this right here, where you can enter, put credit spreads, and if it go your way, then you cool. And if it don't go your way, it rolls it. Talk about hands off and hands free. What? Yes. All right. So those were the two things I wanted to share. All right. Back to you, Jamie.
All righty. For those who are wondering, it is Peakbot. She was referring to was the Peakbot watch list. Whoops. And that's not right. Alyssa, is it peakbot.com/watch lists with an S, right? That's what it was. She'll drop it in the chat box. So we'll be looking for that in the chat box. This is Russell 2000. They got a nice little drop as well. They have dropped into a buyer zone. It looks like it's trying to push out of right now. I guess technically, if we're going to do something with them, we'd be looking at a call credit spread. Let's see. This would be the same idea for the breakout. Same concept. So this is the next drop down. I like to go like right there. And we'll just make it red real quick. Just want to get an idea of where it is in relation to the next drop down. Oh, okay. You got some space down there. Matter of fact, you can go like this. Bring that up there. What I'm looking for is just to see like where the zones are. With this pushing up right here, we got buyers in here. This may be considered a good. Good is relative, but decent area. Somebody was trying to get in. What I'm looking for is the way the PDT hack works. You talked about that before on the call, but when you have a credit spread, the most important thing is that the price is moving in a particular direction. Right now, this is dropping. So I will be looking above it. Outside the fact there's a gap up here on the 4-hour chart. So I would be doing the same thing that I did with SPX. But you guys were, Alyssa was explaining something. So these are the ones that I have in right now. These are expiring. Okay. Just use this as an example. 30, 20, 50. Be about right here. So I'll be going up a little bit. Yeah, 2050. I'll be up here. And this is for expiration on the 15th. Right? What day of the week is that? Was it Monday? It's not Monday, is it? Yeah, Monday. So this will be a Monday expiration. The call credit spread I would be putting in right now. So the idea would be put this in get in and then put the PDT hack on it. And then if it keeps traveling down and it locks, then we'll have that together. It would not surprise me if this comes in here and turns around though. So we'll see. I'm gonna switch over to Apple and the other movers. Apple's been on the downtrend lately, man. Good Lord. I'm a little surprised. This is the monthly chart for Apple. If you look right here, now a second ago, we were just talking about the one formation, the double top, and or triple top. This is the same. This looks the same. North to south run up. It has bounced here, here, and here. So I definitely would be watching Apple. If anybody trades it, I would keep an eye on that because this will be that neckline that it was talking about on the graphic. So I'm gonna mark this. Matter of fact, I'm gonna mark where it can go up here, and then right about here. Because there's what could be a cheer, but also it has been to this, been turned around here before. So I'm okay with putting this line here. But it's definitely on the weekly, downtrend. Downtrend. Apple, what happened? Player, what happened? What happened to you? I know people still buying them iPhones. That's for sure. Apple just expanded into India on a level that's probably underrated in terms of its impact. In I would even go as far as to say in terms of its impact in economic history. Because India is an untapped market in terms of a lot of business. So what Apple is doing over there is probably going to bring other businesses into the market that probably normally wouldn't have even been in the mix on that. That's just my opinion on there. But there's a couple different ways this can be done. I've seen it done this way to just catch these two on the outskirts, if you will. I try to just find them, as many taps as possible. But again, this doesn't have to be exacting when we're doing the trend lines. We just want to make sure we understand what direction that it's going. This is clearly overall basing sideways, but these lately it's been on a downtrend, but it's being held up here at 170. So as long as we understand what the trend is for this time frame, this being weekly, we need to understand what's going down for the daily. That's what's important. If that's the time frame that you're trading on. Here is a buyer zone here, leg in, base, leg out, right there. There's a bunch you can always do with a lot of these charts. So I always just try to acknowledge the multiple ways I've seen it charted, because some people may see something different, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I always say, however you chart it, just make sure you feel comfortable putting your money on the line in the trade. So, and then up here, that's what I have for the seller zone. So right now it is in a recent seller zone. It got rejected at the top of that seller zone, right? So I'm just gonna make this. It looks like it could be forming a new seller zone. This is an example of lower highs, lower, and then now it's trying to break past this most recent one. It did break past its low a little bit here, but it came back in. So it could very well be about to form another leg out. Who knows? Too hard to, can't really predict it, but based on the trend is the way it's looking. This is the 4 hour, and same deal. It's in this seller zone. This could be considered a cheer, I believe, depending on how you chart. On a 4 hour, that could be a cheer. And leg in, 2 in the base. I'm sorry, leg in, 4 in the base, leg out, or use this one as a leg in right here. This right there, leg in. Now I think I'll be okay with that. This is a shorter leg in, but at the end of the day, taking advantage of this leg out is what my focus would be. And price has not come all the way through the top of this one on the 4 hour quite yet. So still got some room. It's tiny bit of room up there, but you can't really count Apple out. So but I would go with that daily. Right here, I would be looking at probably call credit spread. Apple might be one of those ones that may have some premiums left if you wanted to get into something that expired today. All just depends. They have high liquidity, that's for sure. Looks like it's what, $2, so 178.3. What are we looking at? So on this side, because it's dropping like it's dropping, there are no premiums over here. But no. So this is 70%. But that's too close for my taste. So we'll be going out to the next one. Let's see here. Let's see what the next one is. I'm in this with. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a call, doing a cover call, and I forgot what the other thing was. But anyway, we got 170. 171 is where we would need to be under. So 170, 83% out the money right there. We could do that. That would be 25 cents. I would be starting off though looking over here because Apple is dropping. Would be 28 cents right there. That's this is a 2.5 spread. That's $250 of collateral. So that's over 10% return on that collateral. I'm gonna do YouTube AM. Of course, Apple's gonna feel faster in the sim. Let's look at so I went up here in this area. Would definitely wait till it starts dropping down. If it starts dropping down, and at some point, I like to try to put in the iron condor on when it gets a little bit closer, while the trade is still in, and that's how you share the collateral between both sides. Put the money on the line. You want to make sure you get more bang for your buck. You understand? So finally, the breakout. Ding, 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 ding. So let's see here. This is I don't know why this keeps switching on me. There you go. So since it finally broke out, we just start doing some investigating. When it comes to the PDT hack, for example, we were talking about that. So we're gonna go with what's $1. So what I'm looking for is where's a good place to get started. Preferably a bid-ask spread that is less than $1. I'm looking between these two. This is 80 cents right here. All right, I'm usually in this area anyway. So what we're gonna do will be $1. Okay, we're trying to get. See what happens. You may or may not get filled. We did I think I put the other one in for Russell, but it didn't fill. So that's the one that I would cancel and retry a little bit later. All right, so I was looking to see if there were any more tickers from you guys. So this is dropping and dropping. Russell was right in the buyer zone when it dropped, and so this is following suit. The SPX. So those two charts are consistent. We had Apple. We got to do NVIDIA as the other mover. Of course, we know that they on the run, but they've been doing a little bit of a pullback. They are definitely running the show when it comes to those. Oh, I know why this is doing that. I need to back down the amount of time I have on the time frame. We were going back looking for some previous zones, and it ended up being we have to go back like real far for the chart that we were on. So in order to do that, it has to download a lot of data, and so I'm gonna switch this back from max available to 5 years. So that should load a little bit faster. Less data that it has to try to fight with. So on the monthly chart for NVIDIA, this is the run up. It looks like it has at least started trying to find its seller level. Boom, boom. Of course, you never know until you see the extra leg because this could always go up. And the direction that it's traveling, it wouldn't be surprised if it runs up. This is the weekly. It has been basing, really. This should look familiar because every chart we looked at seemed like so far has had this look. The double or triple top. This would be the neckline right here. If I was doing it, 88, let me see, 827, somewhere in here. Plus there's a gap right here anyway at 823. So there's no reason why you couldn't consider that an area of interest. Something like that. That one is a little bit easier just because it's a gap that's just sitting there. But I'm sure we'll put that in there like that. And matter of fact, we'll make it yellow because it is on the weekly chart. All right, let's see. Okay. That's what that's doing. A little bit of a buy zone, but I would say this is a pretty good leg out and dropping situation right there. Actually, man, I cannot believe that. Thinking I'm on one chart and I'm on the other. So this is a daily. So change this to green. I thought we were on the weekly. This is the weekly. Got it. Leg in, back two in the base, leg out. If you're doing something for the weekly, I've seen that charted. I don't love the leg out on that, so I probably would be using the daily. I think my accountability partner will probably do leg in, one in the base, and leg out for a cheer formation right here on the weekly. I would definitely I will be doing something like this to at least acknowledge that it could be a cheer right there. And at least put a line under there or something to say there may be some activity on the weekly chart right there. But this one is for the daily up here. And then let's go daily. All right. So daily got a, I'm sorry. See, I know I clicked 1D for daily and 4 hour popped up. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this replay to make sure I did that, but I swear I did. Engulfing candle right there. So this should be interesting to see how this plays out. Okay, now this was what we put on the weekly, and this is what that formation ends up being on the daily. Put this line in, but then when it came down, it bounced right off of there at that point. There's, let's say here. And we're still waiting to see if the SPX CCS that we put in is going to fill. Leg in, base, leg out. It's not that great of a leg out, but we still have some other stuff happening right there. And then this is technically a buyer formation. Not that great a one, but I would still have to ignite. Either way, even if we didn't do the formation, I would still be acknowledging that this is happening with the support right here. So even if this wasn't here, I would still be acknowledging that, I will still be putting a line in here somewhere, which is what this is. This is for the gap, by the way. Is why this is here, but this right here, this thin line would be, I'll be putting that in regardless. Because this was a turnaround point. What is 4 hour gonna say? So on the 4 hour, we have a cheer on NVIDIA right here. And then we're gonna look at the options chain for it. And we'll go right there, here. I choose those colors. For whatever reason, certain colors make more sense for certain time frames. I don't do them all the way across the whole chart anymore, though. I know specifically what I'm looking for, so I always encourage people to find whatever mode of organization works for you. When you're looking at your charts, it's different for everybody. This is heading down. This right here is a point where it turned around before. So this was at some point being resistance, support and resistance, called a parity line. So I'm not surprised it would be bouncing where it's bouncing right now, because there's been a stopping point before. If you're looking at NVIDIA, I'll be looking at somewhere above 910 or something like that. 45. Let's see here. Let's do plus 45. 932. So yeah. We're looking at 935. That's 80%. Now, between these two, the 935 and 940 that we can pick from, the reason why I like going with, in this case, I'll be going with 940 is just because the open interest is what? Double, almost triple. As well, the volume is double. So I feel like this would probably be a better situation in terms of getting in, getting out the trade, that kind of thing. So I would definitely go with this one. Oh, I'm hitting the wrong button. So 540 and then B77. Now this is of course for next week expiration, which I'm totally fine with. You can do YouTube AM. And I didn't even see one for, let's see. This is for today. 11, so 75-ish. So even here, well, it's dropping right now, so I'm gonna mess around when it's dropping. Let's look at, let's see what's happening at the top. 98. So we'll be looking somewhere in here. Again, this one has way more activity. 42,340 for the volume, 11,976 for the open interest. So I would be, as long as I'm above price, I'm good. 82% out the money. Definitely be looking at that. I mean, obviously you can do this one as well, but I like the activity on here. So I'm going to do this and just to show you. So this is 31 cents. If we went 925, this would be 26. So it's not like it's that big of a difference. Matter of fact, I'll just go ahead and take that one. So into AM. We'll see how that goes. And then I'm going to switch back to SPX. See how XPX is doing. It stayed still out of the breakout range and steady dropping, but hasn't hit the low over here. So NVIDIA, we're good. And then so we are in, we got that trade is already locked in. And then we're gonna go and look at Russell 2000. Then we out of here. Okay. So this is the support area that we marked earlier. So at the time, I had mentioned that it had not hit its low yet, or its recent low. It hadn't broke past that. So Russell finally did break past that. And so we're still in the It will be a CCS. We'll just have to. We can cancel this one. We cancel and replace. And actually, I'm okay with that same strike. Because of the way we're going to use that. And then we just had SPX failed for 90 cents. All right. So we'll do. And again, this is the PDT hack. So we're in the trade. And actually, I think it's for this one. This is for to expire on Monday, right? Price is dropping right now. We bought, we sold at, what is this, 52.15. So we're gonna buy here. Then we're gonna sell here. Then we're only adding, it's 435. So, oh, that's right. Just jump around. Once it can give me something to for the starting point. So what you do is, this is a 5 spread. So and it gave me 90, 410. How much do I want to make on this? I usually do 45. So 4.55 is what I'll be putting in there to profit. I'll do good till cancel on here. And yeah, let's see. It might lock today. It may not lock today. It may not lock at all. But if it does, then that means that's the trade PDT hack. You don't have to worry about closing it. One side will expire. All right, so that's locked in. I don't have to touch that. I'm done with that particular trade. So if this is a live account, that would mean that that profit is already set up for Monday. So I don't even have to peek at it or anything. All right, so SPX broke out. We got everything set up. We got to end a couple of trades, et cetera, et cetera. And it is time to move on with our day. Thank you all for hanging out. We have cash flow. Our cash flow game online happens on tomorrow. It is second Saturday. Cash flow is the game that was created by Robert Kiyosaki of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I love playing the game. I host the game. It's free to everybody, open to all. You can sign up on richdad.com to get your free profile. You need a username in order to actually play on the board, but I explained we start off by going through explaining the board game, how it's set up. But if you want to learn about financial education from the standpoint of, this game covers pretty much everything. You get to see, you learn about budgeting, real estate, stocks, and really just how to create cash flow to get out of the rat race. Many of us who play regularly, we have been applying the principles of the board game. This is a financial education tool. It is designed to apply the principles to real life. I can definitely say I have been applying the principles based on this game. Has changed my life in many ways, from my mental, strategies concerning money to, actual results just by applying. So 6 people at a time can be on the board with this. And so, the information is in the graphic down here. We got the meeting ID and the passcode.
11 a.m. Eastern time. This is the Eastern time game, Eastern time. Our hope is that you will learn, come hang out with us, learn how to play the game. And if you're having if the conversation about money, wealth building, economics is not something that happens in your ecosystem, this might be a fun way to introduce those concepts with your family and friends. So learn how to play with us. If you don't know how to play, and then y'all can set up your own games. It's not hard to do at all. So that's tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern time. I'm going to update this graphic right now to say Eastern time. All right. For our declaration for today, by faith, I'm a successful trader. I'm a wise and knowledgeable trader. I make smart and lucrative decisions for my portfolios. Money likes me. Dinero me encanta. Because money is comfortable around me, it is drawn to me. E2T daily prayer. Lord, give us wisdom and knowledge for our trades today. Help us to make smart and lucrative decisions for our portfolios. All right, everybody. The stock market is doing what it's doing. Stock futures slide as earnings season kicks off. All of our major indexes, Dow futures, S&P futures, and NASDAQ futures are all currently down right now. As you can see from the chart, the Dow Jones is down 0.93%. S&P 500 is down 1.06%. NASDAQ is down the most, 1.33%, and Russell 2K is right behind it, down 1.27%. The VIX is up now at this point, 24. VIX is up 24% to 18.50. All right, trade carefully, everybody. We do two things in our community: stay green, get this money. You all have a great day. We appreciate you. If something resonated with you today, feel free to leave us a comment. Other than that, you all have a great day.